to the Will Leitch Show. I am the aforementioned Will Leitch. Our guest today is Jason Gay from the Wall Street Journal, which means today we're going to be talking about media. Why are you watching me right now? Now, you're watching this on SITV, so fair to say you're probably a sports fan. But you can't watch sports right now because there are no sports on, so you're stuck watching me. Sorry. You're watching me because I am one of the tens of thousands of people who work in sports despite not actually being able to, do sports at all. I can't jump or dribble or skate or box. I sever my ACL getting out of my car. I tear a rotator cuff lifting a bag of popcorn. I get a concussion from thinking too hard about Oprah. I am a weakling in every possible way. But nonetheless, I am here talking about sports like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless and Bob Costas and LeVar Ball and thousands of people who, like me, can't play sports but still somehow make a living in the world of sports. We are the media, and we are completely pointless. The only reason any of us have jobs is because sports are not, in fact, on all the time. Because if they were, you'd be watching sports right now. Our job is to keep your mind thinking about sports even when there actually are no sports on. That is literally the only reason we are here. Big game last night, huge game coming up. I hope the star player can come through in the clutch. His legacy is on the line. None of these things have actually anything to do with the enjoyment of watching tall and fast people do tall and fast things, but that's still all that we talk about. We are here solely to grab your attention. Why do we love LeVar Ball so much? Because he jiggled his keys at us. Ooh! We are so desperate for you to pay attention to us. We are so desperate that we will happily lap up everything a babbling moron who, may we remind you, claims he could have beaten Michael Jordan in his prime despite having the physique of one of the humans in Wall-E. Everything LeVar Ball says we pay attention to simply because it gives us something to fill time until an actual game starts. Now, you look at us and see bias or arrogance or idiocy, and yes, all of those things are certainly there, and it's certainly true. But you know what you really see? You see fear. We're terrified someone's going to find out that nobody actually needs us. So here's your LeVar Ball, here's your Deflategate, here's your Bills Mafia table slams. Please, please, please keep watching us. We can't play sports, so this is as close as we can get. Hunter S. Thompson once said that the only honest, objective journalism you could find in a newspaper were box scores. But nobody reads newspapers anymore. So sorry, you're stuck with us and this. Our guest today is a sports columnist for the Wall Street Journal, the former co-host of Fox Sports 1's Crowd Goes Wild, and the author of the book Little Victories, Perfect Rules for Imperfect Living. He's also very handsome. Welcome to the show, Jason Gay.
Sir. Good to be here. Good to be here, everybody. Good to be here.
So we do not have to add in the clapper applause in post.
Radio City. I mean, unbelievable.
Honestly, just to think a little kid from rural Illinois could come and be here.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Okay. That's not generally how this works. Go ahead, go, hit me.
How are you liking it at Barstool?
It's fun. It's very fun. It's funny. It's not, the best part about it, you do it for the fans.
Yeah.
You do it for the fans.
Yeah.
Well, that reminds me a little bit because I want to talk to you about media.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about some media.
And the first question you have to ask about anyone when they work in media.
Yeah.
How you doing? Are you still got your job? Are you still hanging in? Are you
okay? The key card still works.
The key card still
one
works.
day I'm going to go into that Wall Street Journal building and it's not going to work. It's going to turn red and that's it. I'll just, go home.
You could be like the Office Space guy. Like they just have the statement. No one's told him.
Exactly.
And you haven't gotten paid in years.
Exactly. No, you know what? I realized something the other day, and you can appreciate this. We're around the same age, got kids around the same age. I always think it's funny that no place I've ever worked in my entire career was ever the best time to ever be there. Everyone's always like, oh man, you should have been here 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 3 years ago. You never in any kind of workplace where anybody's like, you know what? Yeah. Right now.
This is it. This is literally
It's never been better, Will.
Right now. And of course, those people at the time were absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
Because people are, there's a line about that. Everybody is, the reason we are nostalgic about the past is because the present sucks, like no matter when it is.
This is true. This is true.
But that said, and I always tell people this because people are asking me how, my son wants to get into media and they, if I have any thoughts about them. And I always tell them, lie. I basically lie to them. I basically tell them, if you work hard and you do your best, you'll have a chance. And on one hand, that was totally not true for me. I had, of course, the same happenstance, luck, and also it was very difficult for me as a straight white male, and it was hard for me to like break through a little bit. But what I generally find is that the same things that people were telling me when I was in college, that, oh, it's a terrible business, it's 100%. Really tough. People are saying the same right now. I just think that maybe they were wrong then or maybe right now.
I'm not sure about that. I do know that the landscape has changed so significantly that when I tell people where I came from, the vast majority of the jobs that I held do not exist anymore. It's like I'm telling them stories of old whaling days. You know, I'm like, I worked at a small country newspaper that came out twice a week, and people are like, it's like talking like about a candlestick company or something. And that has changed. I've never had a totally digital life. You have.
Yeah,
but I have always had. There's always been print Jason wherever.
Which is funny because when I have something in print, I get so excited. I get so amped up to actually have something in print.
Why is that? Why is it? You probably have this happen, where somebody, a source or someone close to someone you're writing about, will say like, Will this be in print?
Yeah.
What is that? I mean, it's amazing that that still gets asked.
I know, the idea like, oh yes, it will be in a form which is incredibly more difficult to read than in any other actual format.
But they're effectively saying that it's more significant. I don't know.
I still feel that way though. I have to say I still feel that way. I mean, it's a hard thing to explain to parents too, like particularly my parents, to like the idea that like this show, the thing you should probably let you know, the cameras are not on right now.
Okay,
this is just something that happened in my. I'm like it's like the end of St. Elsewhere. This is like something that's happening entirely in my imagination.
It's a Rupert Pupkin kind of production.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly. You will be tied to a chair and bothered by Sandra Bernhard very recently. But I guess that's the thing though, is it's hard for me in media now. I look back and I hear these stories of people riding on the trains with the athletes and hanging out with them all the time. And that guy wrote a story and the whole town was abuzz. And I don't find that, like, I guess maybe, are there media people like that now? I feel like there was a moment where Bill Simmons was maybe like that, but now it's really probably just LeVar Ball, right? Like, I guess it's the only person that can, like, make a noise and have it really affect the world.
I feel that there are a handful of people who can kind of, to use like a Wall Street parlance, like move the market. Like a guy like Woj or a person like Adam Schefter announcing a rumor or a trade or a GM firing or something like that. They can like just create churn in the atmosphere, right?
For like 15 to 20 seconds.
Right, but they're not really reporters anymore. I know Woj writes stories anymore. I don't know if Schefter writes stories anymore, but they're almost like, I don't know, it's like high-frequency day trading. It's like little blips happen along the day, and that's where the influence is. The idea of someone saying, let me tell you what to think about this, Sonny, like that is a relic. That's, back with Dick Young's day.
Wow. We should probably turn the cameras on now.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so we do a couple things here.
Yeah,
we do a couple little gimmicks here. The first of which is frivolous questions of dubious import.
Okay, good.
In which I will ask you rapid fire. We'll call it rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Okay,
rapid fire questions.
Good.
Okay.
Can there be a career-ending question in here? I'm hoping there will be.
You know what? There's always the opportunity to answer to any question at all time. Particularly now we've turned the cameras on.
Excellent.
You write for the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
What stock should I buy?
Just load up on Bitcoin.
Load up on. That's what I hear.
Yeah. Just.
There's always a Bitcoin reference. How many locker room penises would you say you have seen in your lifetime?
Thousands.
Thousands?
Thousands.
Yeah, I actually need Avogadro's number, like scientific notation.
Yeah.
I've actually never even been in a locker room.
According to your critics. He's never been in a locker room.
Never in a locker room. I just walking down the street. It's weird. What is the dumbest question you have personally ever asked in an interview subject?
Oh, that is such a good question.
I'm a reporter, Jason Gay. I ask tough questions.
Oh, man. I remember very vividly when I was starting out as a reporter, I covered a round of presidential golf. This was before Donald Trump revolutionized presidential golf. It was Bill Clinton was golfing.
That is what he's most famous for.
Bill Clinton was playing golf on Martha's Vineyard, where I was a reporter. The mean streets of Martha's Vineyard. Well, very tough job.
I know, tough.
And someone was in his foursome, some sort of titan of industry, and I asked, surrounded by the White House press corps, I said, "Sir, is this round of golf the pinnacle of your life?" And there was just a roar of laughter from reporters who are many years senior to me. And I remember just wanting to melt and die. And
It's a fun feeling. It's a wonderful thing to be laughed at by your peers.
and now I just make sure whenever anybody asks a dumb question to just laugh my head off and mock them mercilessly.
Wait, you were just laughing really loud to one of my
Yeah.
What would your title at the Players Tribune be?
Oh, antagonist.
Antagonist?
Yeah, I think I would be. Could I be New York antagonist? I don't really want the West Coast.
You got to talk to Matt
antagonist
Harvey
job.
about that one. He's the editor of the New York Bureau.
If he
He's the
gets
bureau chief.
traded and they move that's a tough one. You know, listen, the Players Tribune.
Oh, I'm very pro Players
was
Tribune.
ready to mock it,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it
I'm very
chugs
pro.
along. You know, I just I'm almost at this point surprised when an athlete announces something that's not on the Players Tribune.
And why wouldn't they be? You know,
Yeah.
back in the Deadspin days, we used to always joke about how once athletes figure out how to blog, there'll be no reason for anyone to have a blog. It just turned out that was Twitter, and then it turned out the Players Tribune. So they don't need us at all.
On print, just quick sidebar.
Yes.
Why is it that athletes, when they leave, we talk about how athletes today are just so socially media, aware, but why is it when they leave social media, not socially media, when they leave town, when they get traded away or they retire, what is the thing that they do in their home city on their way out the door? They take out
the newspaper.
a print ad in the newspaper. It's the most anachronistic media gesture possible. Why is that the ritual? Why isn't anybody Instagramming their goodbye?
I think it's probably because it only costs like 35 cents. It's probably
It's cheaper than an Instagram.
for that one. Okay, so you are a little bit younger than LeVar Ball is.
Yeah.
If he would have been like your best friend since high school, and then he's like popping up doing this, what would you tell him? What would you say to your old friend about what he's currently doing in this media universe?
I would just say LeVar.
I think he probably even his friends refer to him as Mr. Ball.
Mr. Ball. I don't know how long you are for Lithuania. I would have.
I tell my friends that all the time, even if they're not there.
I mean, from all accounts, a lovely place to visit. However, there's quite adequate basketball in many other parts of the world, and it just seems like an odd choice. However, he's now the head coach of the team, so things are working out for LeVar.
I like Lithuania, unlike Jason. I enjoy the Lithuanian people.
I do. I don't want to hear from the Lithuanian consulate.
See, there again, I would love to hear from the Lithuanian consulate.
This is in the waiting room at the when you're getting your visa.
We're all just waiting in there, and I'm like, come, and you're hiding in the back.
It's the Will Leitch Show again.
Okay, as a media person, which would you say that you look at more often? Twitter or your children's eyes?
Definitely Twitter. Are you kidding me? I don't even know what color my kids' eyes are.
Yeah, Twitter actually only figuratively spits up at you.
This is true, and also, Twitter's free.
Yeah,
Kids, not free.
There is a cost. There's a psychic cost. Do you regret pivoting away from video?
Involuntarily, listen, they just rebooted Murphy Brown.
Yes, it's
okay. There's a couple other shows they're bringing back. It's only a matter of time before I get the call from Fox Sports 1 and say, listen, we're rebooting.
I was a big fan of the show. I was a guest on the show. I enjoyed the show very much. And of course, obviously, I don't know what happened to anybody else on the show. I know Regis is still working, but I guess nobody else actually ended up doing anything out of that show, I don't think.
Nolan.
Never.
Katie Nolan. Katie Nolan's a big, giant ESPN star. Michael Costa.
I know, I'm just kidding. I'm obviously talking about Katie.
You know what I am? I'm like the Willie Ames of The Crowd Goes Wild, okay? I'm the guy that I am definitely the trivia question.
I always say I'm the Kilborn to Deadspin. Like, I'm the Kilborn of Deadspin.
Yeah, that's right. And, no one remembers, right? Yeah.
Well. I write a piece for them once a year, and the most common thing is like, I'm sorry, why are you letting this guy write on this site? Okay, next question. I have this question about Regis, but I'm going to skip it.
No, I want to hear. I love Regis. Give it to me.
Because I love Regis, and one of my favorite things on that old show was when Katie Nolan did the great defense against Rick Riley of Regis, one of my absolute favorite things. But sometimes I worry sometimes does he, in person without the makeup, does he look a little like one of the puppets from the Land of Confusion video?
That's Genesis?
Yeah, the spinning image. Remember the old spinning image puppets?
Yeah,
You're my age. You don't remember this.
No, not really.
Like remember the old Reagan spinning? You remember the Reagan spinning image?
Regis is a gorgeous.
He is a gorgeous man. He is a
man.
wonderful, wonderful human.
Right. He is a gorgeous man now.
Okay. Better Monday Night Football broadcaster, Dennis Miller or Tony Kornheiser?
It's been a while. I'd like to listen to that, but I would go Kornheiser.
My favorite thing about Dennis Miller is that he couldn't do the show anymore because he was too upset by 9/11. That's one of my favorite. Like, wow, that's very
That was an actual statement.
That was actually the thing he
about...
said. He was very troubled by 9/11 and wasn't sure he could come back and do the show. It was good, yeah.
Can we ask just another sidebar here? This who's going to get the Monday night job? Who's going to be this guy? Is Peyton Manning going to be?
Right.
They don't move the needle at all. It doesn't
care.
mean anything. You could have a bowl of cabbage next to Sean McDonough. It's going to do the same number as it would with Peyton Manning. It's Tony Romo, for all the rapturous praise. Ratings still started to go down.
It's also worth noting, too, by the playoffs, everyone's like, oh, I'm getting sick of Romo. Like, our cycle for this has gone so immediate.
Exactly. It's like a pop single or something. You're like, all right, all right.
Okay, this is a question I ask everyone on the show. Do you think the president should maybe tweet a little less?
No, I mean, it's good for the gander, right? I mean, this is the entire news cycle, right? I work in the print world, Will, and like the president is just driving the news cycle. People care. People want trusted reporting in the Wall Street Journal. If President Trump somehow turns into some sort of, boring cultural leader, we're in major trouble.
This reminds me, was it Les Moonves that said, hey, terrible for the country, but awesome for us?
You know what? Honest answer from Les.
What's the worst city for biking?
There are moments I feel it's New York City. As great as a biking city as it's become in the time that I've lived here, the amount of hell you have to go through to get to one of the great rides that are around here is quite a bit of hell. It's also becoming a victim of its own popularity. It's insane how many people are out there on the roads. That would be my answer.
Correct answer is Cheyenne, Wyoming. Do you think Derek Jeter is cool?
No.
Did you ever think he was cool?
No, not really. No.
I did a story for New York Magazine where I couldn't get any time with him. I asked for 25 minutes and we couldn't get it. So I interviewed him for 25 consecutive home games for 1 minute each in his locker. It was not any more insightful. It was not insightful at all.
Sorry, I just like blew boogers all over myself here. I mean, this is the worst thing that's happened to Time Inc. Derek Jeter, I feel, came out of the womb as a press release.
Yeah.
He just, on message from the get-go.
Seems
I'm not crying.
potentially
I'm
painful,
just
but yeah.
saying welcome.
Okay, last question. Say something mean about Barstool so all of their crazy minions will go after you.
The Patriots are only going to win by 3 touchdowns.
Sorry, the correct answer was to just pretend that you were a woman. That was actually the way that you would do that. Okay, so now we come to our next game. This is our next is a segment. This is called, this is a very special game we have. It's called Let's See If the Guest Can Give the Correct Answer to a Series of Multiple Choice Questions. These are about tweets. These are
good.
tweets.
Okay.
These
tweets.
are you. I'm going to give you a tweet. You'll see them on this board here, and we have to see if you can identify who wrote the tweet.
All right.
Question number 1. No one forces people to work at Nike factories. They work there to make a living and are given what the marketplace says they're worth. Is it A, Chris Broussard, B, Phil Knight, C, Darren Rovell, or D, Stephen A. Smith?
Rovell.
That is correct. Of course it's Rovell. Of course it's Rovell. Next question. Michael Jordan would have said, I don't need to pick no Kevin Durant to win the All-Star game. I'd rather beat him and Curry. Is it A, Skip Bayless, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Ahmad Rashad, or D, Michael Wilbon?
What was the first option?
Skip Bayless, Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh, Skip.
It is, of course, Skip Bayless. It's, of course, Skip Bayless. Question number 3. Yes, it's very hard making ends meet by owning a website that does 50 to 100 million page views a month. Is it A, Mike Florio, B, Jason McIntyre, C, Dave Portnoy, or D, Bill Simmons?
I would go at 1, Mike Florio.
That is correct.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the trickier ones on there.
Yeah,
you got that one.
Yeah, it's like HQ, but nerdy.
Yeah, it's close. All right, next one. I'm sick of all these unpleasant word for genitals, whining about viruses and shit. Big whoop, like banging a hot chick with STD, worth it. Is it A, Bob Costas, B, Dave Portnoy, C, His Holiness Pope Francis, or D, Joe Francis?
Portnoy?
Yeah, good guess. Jason, well done. That is correct. Next one. Some lucky lady in NYC is going to feel a couple of inches of pain tonight.
Yeah.
A, Drew McGarry. B, PFT commenter. C,
Yeah.
Mike Lupica. And
Yeah.
D, Jason Whitlock.
Yeah. D.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
Yeah,
That was a
that's
fun
kind of
one.
like a 4 score in 7 years.
Yeah, you just never forget where you were.
Yeah.
And okay, we have one more. Really good World Series, but don't let it distract from the biggest story in sports. You guys aren't eating enough Papa John's pizza. A, Chris Collinsworth. B, Peyton Manning. C, Tony Romo. Or D, Darren Rovell.
That was me.
That was
a trick
it!
question.
That was Jason
I
Gay.
got a perfect score.
The man never
Unbelievable.
forgets a tweet, his or otherwise. All right.
Ask me my kids' names. I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you don't look into their eyes. Okay, final thing we're going to do here. Final thing. This is another game that we call How Fast Can You Say Things on This Show That You're On With Will Right Now? So we put 15 seconds. I think it's 15 seconds on the clock. Let's go with 20 seconds on the clock.
Wow.
20 seconds on the clock. You have to give me, it's like an outburst. Remember the old game Outburst? We can't say Outburst, that's why we had to call it the much more efficient name of before. But say the game Outburst, where I give, like Family Feud played really loud.
All right.
Really fast. I give you that much on the clock, and I give you a category. You tell me how many you have. The category is the 10 most popular sports media websites, according to e-Business Guide, as of July 2017. They are using Alexa Global Traffic Rank and Quantcast numbers. The 10 most popular sports media website. So not like NFL.com or NBA.com.
Okay.
The most popular 10 websites. 20 seconds? 20 seconds? 20 seconds on the clock. Go.
Worldwide or U.S.?
U.S.
ESPN.
Yes.
Sports Illustrated.
Yes.
Bleacher Report.
Yes.
SB Nation.
Yes.
Barstool.
No.
Oh, Fox Sports.
Yes.
New York Times
No.
Sports.
And-
Wall Street Journal Sports. Oh,
Sorry,
geez.
Wall Street Journal should have been on there, obviously. One is Yahoo. Everybody always forgets about old Quatiba. What do they call it? The whatever they're, yes, the Quatiba, whatever they're on. 2 ESPN, 3 Bleacher Report, 4 CBS Sports, 5 Sports Illustrated, 6 NBC, 7 SB Nation, 8 Fox Sports, 9 Rant Sports,
Oh, yes, Grand Sports.
and 10 is Deadspin. 10 is number 10 on that list is Deadspin.
That's all you, Will.
That's totally something I did 10 years ago. So
what is going to be the tombstone on you? Is it going to be Deadspin?
It's going to be. I used to always joke with that old Bissinger guy that like it was like the 5th line in his obituary and like the 2nd in mine, and each of us were trying to like push it down. I think he has probably done a more successful job of pushing it down than I have. But perhaps this show will change that. Jason Gay, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Will.
Very much a pleasure. We'll be back hopefully for a 3rd show. You really never know. But otherwise, enjoy this and the rest of SITV's outstanding programming.